I'm just going to warn some of you that are here. If I haven't seen you in a while or I don't know you, I might ask you to introduce yourself. We're going to need 3 people to introduce themselves shortly. Not yet, but soon.
Everybody wave to our live stream on YouTube.
Good morning, YouTube.
I can fix my camera.
Oh, Qatar, her sound's not connected. I was going to have her introduce herself.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I just broke the camera.
Oh, no.
Good morning.
Technical issues. Oh, awesome. Okay. And we will get started here in 1 minute. Okay, I'm giving you guys a heads up. I'm going to ask 3 people to introduce themselves, and I'm already going to call you out right now. So I'm going to say, well, don't introduce yourselves yet, but Qatar, I would love to hear from you this morning. JJ and Nicole. So get ready. Just tell us a little bit about yourselves.
9 hours.
And it is 9 a.m. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. And Qatar, if you'd like to introduce yourself this morning, go ahead and take yourself off mute.
Sure. Can you guys hear me? I have microphone problems.
Yep, I can hear you.
Perfect. Well, good morning and nice to see everyone. I haven't attended the online 1 Million Cups since it started. So
We've missed you.
I know. I just figured it out. So one of my colleagues told me, it happened last Wednesday. So I looked you up and I found the link. So my name is Kautar El Alawi. I'm the Commercial Services Officer at Sanjay Area Federal Credit Union. So I'm responsible for the business deposit growth. I'm responsible to build relationships with businesses and help them with their cash flow needs.
Well, welcome. We're glad to see you back. All right, JJ, you are next.
Uh-oh.
JJ may be getting coffee.
Okay. All right, Nicole, are you there?
Good morning.
Morning.
Been in and out of 1 Million Cups the last couple months, but I'm Nicole Mast, recent transplant to Albuquerque. I am the Director of Operations at a nonprofit called Flower Hill Institute, and I also run my own operations and bookkeeping company called Orange Hummingbird. Nice to see all your friendly faces again.
Awesome. Well, welcome this morning. And how about, does Stuart want to introduce himself this morning?
Sure, I'm Stu Rose. Good morning to everyone. I own the Fat Pike Network and the Bioscience Center.
Sort of. You own it. All right. Well, welcome, Stuart. All right. So we are going to get kicked off here. I'm going to share with you our about 1 Million Cups. And so those of you who've ever attended our live sessions or these online ones, we are basically an organization that wants to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connections for all new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. Now, we do that through our national and local missions. We work toward the mission through creating a consistent program. So we coach our presenters. You are never sold to. It's all about their journey as an entrepreneur. So hopefully we can learn from their journey, but it's also about what their challenges they're facing so that we as an audience can ask them questions and maybe make them think about their business in a new way, but then also help them with their challenges. And this is our regional organization, right? Blah, 1 Million Cups is a national organization. And we are the only New Mexico chapter right now. And our key pillars are, it's a presentation, not a pitch. Excuse me. Authentic connections, not networking. So if you've ever been in our live audience, it's not about just handing someone your business card. It's about really talking to people, getting to know them, and making connections. And it's run for the community, by the community. And we want to be and continue to try to be radically and intentionally inclusive. If you have a business, if you have at least one paying client, we ask you to apply. We'd love to hear from you. Basically, if you Google 1 Million Cups Albuquerque, you can find the link to apply. After that, what happens is we assign you a coach. The coach connects with you. We coach you, put you on the schedule, and get you going. And our volunteers. So we have Paul Sauter, Lisa Adkins, who's my co-lead. We have Eric Rins Whitmore, Bob C. Sinandale, Adam Sparks Brechtel, and of course me, Sonia Doing. And as you can see, we all have our own businesses and our own jobs to do. We don't do 1 Million Cups full time, but somehow we make the magic happen every morning. So thank you everybody who helps make this happen. And then our wonderful sponsors. So Lisa is currently sitting at FatPipe ABQ. They are a co-working space. If you ever need a space with great internet, maybe you want to get away from staring at the dishes. They're doing, distancing. There's lots of space. It's a huge open room that she's in. So you might want to check it out if you want to get away from staring at your walls from while you're working. Loza and Loza Intellectual Property, if you want to check them out for getting your trademark, they're really amazing. Yeah, they're an amazing group. They got me trademarked and in record time, so it was great. More Than Organized, Miriam. Is Miriam here this morning? I believe she is. Yes, there you go. Miriam is here this morning. She usually buys our creamer. Someday when we're back together again. And then we have Jason Collin Photography. He's our official photographer, who's actually, when he's here, is he here too? I can't see the list. He is. Okay, just be careful because he takes screenshots of you. Make sure that you look good.
Please pause and smile each moment when you're speaking at some point.
Right? Just make sure I don't look weird or anything while I'm talking. Noventum Custom Software, they usually bring the donuts, or Brian sometimes makes his own baked goods, so we miss that. And that's all I have for the introductions. So Adam Sparks Brechtel, it's your turn.
Great. Good morning. So I'll be introducing Adam Halpern, who's going to be presenting today. And he has the special guest today, his two daughters that were home because of preschool crises. Anyway, so in case you have extra excitement in the background, we're all understanding here. But Adam, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Should I share my screen? Are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Good morning, everyone. If you see some heads walking behind me, obviously those are the two kids that Adam mentioned. And I'm not a newbie to 1 Million Cups. I've probably met a lot of you in person. It's great to see you virtually. We've all been in a unique world this year. So kudos to everyone for making it. And then I'll give Jason a shout out. The headshot that is part of the promo for me presenting was done by him. So I've been using it, I think, a year and a half later. So you guys can always stay young when you get a photo from Jason. So to dive into the presentation, my company is Innovate AT, and we're creating this solution for every athlete, which is WaveOn. So I'm going to dive into the background, right? As Sonia was saying, there's no pitch. This is my story, which really helps all of you understand kind of how and why I've been doing what I've been doing. As you go through it and as you listen, I want you to think about people that you know in the sports space, in the fitness space, business owners, or maybe yourself that's focused on corporate wellness, and think of providers in the health and wellness space that are progressive that might be interested in talking with me about a conversation. Real quick story about myself. I grew up in Angel Fire, right? So I'm hoping winter finally comes. I'm hoping COVID goes away so we can all have a good ski season. I went to NMSU and I worked as an athletic trainer during school. So this is really where I started to gain customer discoveries and really learn about what my business model is. I went to University of New Hampshire, worked with 3 different sports that don't exist in New Mexico: women's ice hockey, women's lacrosse, and women's collegiate gymnastics. I was then fortunate to work with the athletic department at Stanford as a grad assistant. I got my master's in human performance at San Jose State, which then led me to work with the US ski team. So I've been super fortunate. I have been able to work at the highest level within the sports world. So subject matter expertise is really where this whole business model came from. When I was with the ski team, I realized, you know what, there is more that I want. And this is where that entrepreneurial journey really started to come into play, that I know there's a better way to deliver a service, but I didn't really know what it was at the time. So after the ski team, I came back home. Some of you might be familiar with Southwest Sports Institute. It was my company. I started it in the mid 2000s. And this was actually a picture from the opening night. I pulled out the pictures from the archives, found some, right? This was before we all had cell phones and took pictures on everything. Then after I owned that, I worked for Kinesio. So their headquarters are in Albuquerque. So if you watch a sporting event, that tape that you see on people's shoulders and on their knees, that's Kinesio. I was able to work the US Open golf tournament as business development and director of education. That's Tiger Woods. That's the medical director for the US Open in the bottom left. And the US Open always falls on Father's Day. So that's that work-life balance. I was able to bring my father and one of my brothers to the event, which was a great time. I was also able to work the US Olympic track and field trials right before the London Olympics. So on the top left, those are healthcare providers, right? Athletic trainers, physical therapists from all over the country supporting athletes. We had a booth. And then I was really fortunate. I was able to work with the London Olympics, the USOC. That middle picture on the bottom is their world-class professional providers that support US athletes. On the bottom left, that's Dr. Kase, who invented Kinesio and Kinesio tape method, and other practitioners. And then on the top left, that's CBS News that did a story for us when we were over there. Through all of that, right, just like everybody on this call, I got that itch. It's like, you know what? There's something that I have that I want to figure out how to bring it to the masses where I'm in control. And yes, we all have bright and sunny days, right? And it's exciting. You start to make money. But at the same time, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. There are bleak days. We've all had it, right? 2020 is one of those years. You wake up and you say, what's going to come my way? How can I overcome it? Back to the business and really understanding what we're doing through all of that customer discovery of being with world-class athletes. I've realized, well, what if someone isn't a world-class athlete? What if they are a roller derby athlete in Albuquerque? What if they're a cyclist in Albuquerque and they start to have not just an injury, but what if they just have discomfort? The problem we are solving is millions of people spend way too much time and way too much money in what we call the healthcare system. There's no one really helping them navigate what their discomfort or injury is. So what we're doing, right, our solution is we're creating fast and efficient on-demand athlete health service to millions of amateur and recreational athletes. And how we are doing it is we're taking this experience and this environment that I had at Stanford, I had with the US ski team, University of New Mexico has it, and we're bringing it in a very simple way to all of those recreational and amateur athletes. Right, we're talking about COVID. I'm gonna give my COVID update. This is what I've learned in 2020. We really got back to basics because we weren't able to meet in person. And my profession that I came from literally stopped overnight. If you watch news, sports are halting, right? There's no high school sports in New Mexico, which means athletic trainers aren't working. So we started to really look at, well, what are we creating? And our top level vision is we are revolutionizing the health of millions of athletes. And by really focusing in on that vision, we're starting to really have high-level collaboration and strategic partnerships from all disciplines within healthcare, PTs, orthopedic surgeons, chiropractors, massage therapists, but also technology companies that are realizing you are the future of what people need, not just sports medicine, but overall health. So we are creating this overall athlete health community, and it allowed us to really do business with the people we want to do business with. Anyone can make a bunch of money and anyone can serve everyone, but successful businesses really understand who their market is. And that's what we've been able to really be successful with in 2020. This is our experience loop. This is how we are digitizing that athletic training room experience, where we're focusing on engagement, prevention, early intervention, all the way through return to play. And our environment is all digital. There's nothing like this. We're creating an athlete health agent that will help an athlete go through this wheel. And the reason it's different right now, if you are an athlete on this phone call or on this Zoom call, and if you start to experience something, your loop in the healthcare system begins at injury management, which means you have to go out and figure out what to do with the prevention and early intervention components on your own. So we're bringing this whole technology infrastructure to you. We've already gone to market. We have proof of concept. We're leveraging all these technology companies that are siloed out, and they love what we're doing. They're excited to be part of it. We're able to open up new business channels for them, but we're up and running. Everything is going well. This is our revenue model, right? We have to kind of talk about how we're making money. We're going to organizations. Look at our service as the AAA of musculoskeletal injuries. People, millions of people right now pay for a maintenance program for their 1987 beat up Jeep Cherokee. We're bringing that same type of philosophy through technology, a prevention and maintenance program for a 17-year-old daughter, a 15-year-old son, or yourself who's an active adult. And like I said, because of everything, we're looking for those organizations to work with. We're still in that customer discovery phase. Hey, business owner, you have an active employee base. How can we focus on employee retention? How can we decrease your premiums because they're always playing soccer on the weekends, or they're going skiing, or they're going mountain biking? And like I said, some of you might have providers that you love to work with, and how can we be a referral channel for them? So I appreciate it, right? We got to be quick on this. I'm going to open it up to questions, and I can go through all the slides. I have other slides, so I'm excited to hear what you guys' thoughts are and how we can take it to the next level.
Thank you, Adam. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them on the slide there. And I see Sonia is right at it. So Sonia, ready?
I am ready. All right, Adam. So let's say, well, okay. So right now roller derby is of course not playing, and we have the strictest rollout of any sports. So what would be, like right now, is there a talking point for us to be interested in your product now rather than waiting until we're rolling out?
Yeah, so I'll get into the physiology behind sports, and this is what's going to happen. And we saw a little bit of it with the NFL, that athletes are not being as active and or sports specific before the season started. Mm-hmm. And then because COVID is changing all of the schedules, every athlete is ramping up quicker than normal. So that means the risk of injury is going to be extremely high. And we're going to see that in a couple of weeks when the NBA gets back into full participation. There's going to be a bunch of injuries. So for all of your roller derby athletes, there are certain things that they can be doing at home right now to prepare themselves for getting back on skates and then going, 90 to 100% as quickly as possible. And I didn't get into it just because of the time. There is this experience around this digital and virtual communication that every one of your athletes will have with what we call an agent. And we're using these technology platforms where we're able to do a movement screen. We're able to do like cognitive baseline testing, so we can understand if in the season you actually fall and hit your head, how that competes or how that compares to a concussion baseline. So to keep it really simple, it would be getting your organization on the phone and say, these are all the services that every roller derby athlete will receive, no matter where they are in the state, and really identifying how it works for your organization first, because I mean, we're still in that customer discovery. Like, how do we bake it into an organizational benefit? So I would love just to talk with you, or if there's a director, and just an open-ended conversation to really do that customer discovery with the organization.
Okay, I will definitely get you connected because I know we need some outside influence to make sure that we're ready for when roller derby's ready for us.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's perfect. Yeah.
That's great. So there's if anyone has questions, go ahead and put them on the side here. Oh, there's someone. Jim, are you ready?
Yes. Hello, Adam.
Hey, Jim.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and your biz.
I'm Jim Mortensen. I'm a consultant and chief technology officer here in Albuquerque. So I've talked a little bit to Adam. Adam, I think it would be helpful. Could you explain a little bit more about the existing technology partners, what their role is, how you connect to them?
I'm going to stop this because I think I have that slide. Yeah. So I'm going to share this slide and I'll explain it.
And in addition to the partners, also what's your next step as far as moving from a proof of concept to your minimal viable product?
Okay. So I feel that, and maybe we're doing it backwards. The MVP in our phase is utilizing these existing technology platforms that you see on the screen right now. So these companies are spending hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to create data around. Sway is cognitive testing, right? Concussion management. Fusionetics is a movement screen that then tells an athlete, these are the type of exercises you need to perform at home because your hip is tight, your knee is tight, you have pain in your low back, whatever the case may be. So we are working with them during our MVP phase because they already exist. The proof of concept is actually what I talked to Sonia about, is how can we include it into an organization and then make people pay for it? And how do we scale the price? The next phase that Jim is talking about is we're going to utilize all this data and then have an athlete health score within a dashboard. So we'll kind of flip the information and we'll be the hub, and then we'll be navigating the athlete through that information. And there's slides on that. If people want more information, I can show you. But this is really what Jim was talking about. And what I would show the Roller Derby Association is when we talk about that organizational fee, and I talk about that AAA of musculoskeletal, every athlete that comes into our environment receives access to all of these platforms. So they're gaining all of this information about themselves. And then this icon, the Team Links icon, that is a personal health record. And I'm getting into the weeds about what we're building, but a personal health record gives you the control over your information, which includes prevention concepts. If we talk about, let me see if I have it. Hold on, right here. That green box is the personal health record. Every one of you has a health record right now, every single one of you, but it exists with Presbyterian, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or your primary. And it does not include anything around prevention because healthcare is all sick care. It's not healthcare. It's once you're sick or injured, healthcare kicks in. And there's a reason for it. And it works once you're sick or injured. But everyone on the phone knows, well, what if I want to prevent things from happening? Our environment, right, and our data, if we talk about the business opportunity, is we're able to capture information about you from just communicating, focusing on prevention and early intervention tools. And that's what goes into the health record. These companies are spitting out prevention data. So then by putting it attached to you, when you have an injury, we're able to compare pre and post, apples and apples. And then that's a long-term business play, is that we're capturing data and really understanding the positive financial impact on really focusing on prevention type services. So hopefully that answers, Jim. I mean, I'm trying to be as quick as possible without doing a full pitch.
No, that was perfect, Adam.
Thank you. Ben?
Yeah, hey, first of all, I'm sorry, what?
Introduce yourself and your business.
Oh, yeah. So My name is Ben. I'm the creator of the Beanie Sleeper. So Beanie Sleeper is a head wrap with a built-in contoured sleep mask that my customers use for sleep, which is good, and also as a migraine relief. And it's also being used by people going through chemo treatment to help them feel a little bit better. Adam, first of all, amazing pitch. I mean, seriously, your slides and everything was like top notch. I have a few questions. One, do you have revenue right now?
Yeah, so we're not pre-revenue. We have people that are paying for it. Is it scaling the way it could? Not yet. So we're looking for investors, which will then help us build out the team.
I gotcha.
Help us increase sales. So we're not completely pre-revenue. We have people in Colorado that are paying for it, people in Missouri that are paying for it, and now the next phase is let's get more customers.
Okay. My next question is, well, let me just say this. I'm always wary when an entrepreneur says, everybody's going to use it, or there are millions of customers. The market is huge, 50 billion. That bothers me only because it tells me that you haven't found your market yet. And as an investor, I'd be really wary of that. But the other thing that I suggest you do is, in order to perfect this and really prove your hypothesis that this is the thing, focus and find that one niche and drive it home. I suggest The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Miklowitz. It's the most amazing book, and it really helped me to kind of just get in my lane and just go down it as far as it will go. That's really it. Other than that, I do think it's a really incredible product. But that was my only comment.
No, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's good.
Thanks, Ben. John Bell.
Oh, yes. Good morning. John Bell. I'm president of Next Now Digital, which is a digital marketing and transformation consultancy. And Adam, it's good to see you this morning. And you, again, great storyteller. You've obviously, you're not just your subject matter expertise, but your kind of passion for the space and the smarts about the business is clear in how you talk about it. So anyhow, really well done. I guess I have a couple questions, and they may be naive, so forgive me. It's just I'm just learning about your business now. And one is, are you working on proving out clinical outcomes for athletes, better outcomes, in a defensible way, so it makes it easier to attract, both, sports team customers as well as healthcare providers, healthcare plans to participate, and providers for that matter?
The simple answer is yes, right? So how we do it, there's a lot of layers. One of the people that's on our team, he's an athletic trainer, worked at Stanford. I actually went to grad school with him. And then he built the data repository for the Pac-12 conference, that then all of the athletic departments in the Pac-12, all their information went into one repository to then understand exactly what you're talking about. So we're taking that type of concept within our model and then using the information that all of these technology platforms are already spitting out to then really understand patient outcomes, decreasing the cost of healthcare, everything that you mentioned. So that's like the 30,000 foot overview.
So if your model, though, is, if I understand it, especially on this slide, is to kind of serve as a concierge and stitching together some of these best breed solutions, doesn't that mean that your business model is tied into their business model and their ability to sell into whomever, Pac-12 or the...
Yeah. So great question. And once again, if I'm not trying to go too deep, because I know we only have a certain amount of time. Our business model is, we're not trying to compete with like the Stanfords or UNM, because they already have what we are offering. They already have this whole team of sports medicine. Okay. So these companies that you see on the screen, because they're spitting out data, their existing business channel are those institutions that has the athletic trainer to read the data and be the middleman between the data and the athlete, right? And to help the athlete understand it. So what we're doing is we're taking that environment that those athletes currently receive, and we're opening up new doors for these companies because we're going after the club teams. We're going after the well bridges and the sports and wellnesses. So here's a really good example. I talked with USA Handball, right? The NGB, and they have their national team that then is the Olympic team. And then they have club teams all over the country. And then they have individual card holders that love USA Handball and they just pay a yearly membership, right? So when I talked with their executive director about the concept, they loved it. They realized that there's huge potential, but their first question was, well, what do we do about our national team? And I said, nothing. The national team, we don't offer this to because they have the USOC, they have Lake Placid, they have Colorado Springs, right? They have all these locations where they're given everything. What we're doing is we're offering now your club teams in every single city and every one of your card members the same experience, right? Just in a different fashion. So then if one of them, who's now 16, 17, 18-year-old club handball player, could become part of the national team in the future, they've been given that service. So that's kind of the uniqueness of what we're doing is we're opening up new business channels for them that you see on the screen. So it's kind of a double-sided business model. But then at the same time, we're offering a whole new experience opportunity for the athlete themselves that doesn't exist right now. They can go on the internet and find stuff, or they just go into the healthcare system and deal with an injury. Because like real quick, if you're an injured athlete in today's world and you go into the healthcare system, you're going to see a provider that just doesn't understand sports. They've never worked in sports and their checklist is healthcare. So if you have a knee injury or an ankle sprain, they're going to just follow the general public health guidelines and say, well, you got to stay off of it for 4 to 6 weeks. Here's a walking boot. Come back and talk to us, right? And you never see that in pro sports. Someone hurts their knee on Sunday night, they're going to play the next week because they have this whole team around them giving them resources and guidance and information. That's the experience we're talking about. And a lot of these platforms, these companies are allowing that experience to become digital. And what we're creating is, we're calling it an athlete health agent, that there's a person to help the athlete manage it. Same thing as a financial planner, same thing as an insurance agent. They're helping the person along, whatever their goals are.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
That's great. And you're doing fine on time, Mr. Adam. Miriam, you had a comment?
You actually answered most of what I was going to comment on, but it does seem like the kind of thing that would be great to have available for the general public, but that starting with various niches is a great way to do the scaling. And it seems like you do actually have that in play. But also it's an interesting dynamic, the difference between this approach and the healthcare approach. As someone that used to be an athlete and has a gazillion injuries, now has my doctors always, take 2 aspirin and stay off it for a while, not realizing that my work, everything affects the injuries. And as long as I stay strong and healthy, it's great until the one day it's not. And then I need some sort of recuperation for the next few weeks. So I like the concept a lot. And I think it has applications beyond just sports. It could be for a lot of different kinds of people.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. What we're kind of creating is a triage service. We're kind of the point of contact. And then if and when they need to go see a specialist, then we're able to get them in as quickly as possible. But a lot of injuries, not even a lot of injuries, a lot of people, all they want is just access to advice. What should I do right now? What can I do tonight? What can I do tomorrow? Do I need to go see a specialist? And people just don't have that service. So that's like the agent mentality concept.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great. So Adam, a question. Actually, John Moore has a question too. But a question I have is, so if I were hoping to keep myself physically active and potent and all that great stuff, I would just email you and then we'd figure it out from there? Or do you already have a plan, or is it not quite to that stage yet?
No, email me is the best way. We are a healthcare wellness service. So we have stricter regulations than, let's say, like an Uber or even an Airbnb, because athletic trainers, you have to be licensed in the state that you reside in, and you have to have standing orders underneath a physician because we're allied healthcare professionals. That has been the challenge within the profession, especially in New Mexico, is finding an athletic trainer, because actually athletic trainers in New Mexico are paid well, and it's a whole nother conversation. So you have to kind of start with me if you're in New Mexico, but then that gives me the leverage to go find an agent in New Mexico to say, hey, like there's customers that want this here. Let's turn it on. And that's how we started in Colorado. That's how we started in Missouri. And right now it's called Operation 100, where we're trying to find 100 agents across the country. And right now, within a couple of weeks, we already have 31 in 19 different states. So we're building out this infrastructure to be able to scale appropriately. But in New Mexico, if you're in New Mexico, contact me. Or if you're watching from not in New Mexico, still email me, and I'll tell you if we have someone in your area that we can work with you.
Well, that's cool. And if everyone here gave you two new athletic trainers to know, you'd be in the 90s.
Yeah, so most people don't know athletic trainers, right? Just to be real quick about the education, athletic training and personal training are night and day. Athletic training, you have to go to a four-year college. It's now a master's degree. You have to take a national certification. And like I said, 49 states, you have to have a license that requires a physician oversight. A personal trainer, anyone can become a personal trainer. You just have to buy a book, take a test on Saturday, and on Monday, you can charge $80 at your local gym. So they're very, very different. To my last slide, what I would rather have from this group are those introductions to potential large groups of people that will help us scale. I can find athletic trainers because that's my industry. I'm part of national boards. I'm part of organization and committees. Like, that's easy. I need more companies that are focused on wellness, and they're focused on retention, and they're an active group, or a sports league, or your cousin is a gym owner. Those are the people that I want to talk to.
Great. Thank you. And John Moore, you had a question.
And I think you kind of answered it, that this could be a benefit to belonging to a club, a commercial workout club. Is that something that you're thinking about going after?
Yeah, 100%, right? It's figuring out which vertical to go through first, like everyone has been mentioning. The number one pain point for the fitness industry is retention. That's it. Because how can we have their bottom line be consistent? So the fitness industry, excluding COVID, right? COVID is that outlier year. If someone gets injured, not just in the gym, but if they got injured over the weekend, or they got injured, at home, and they go to the healthcare system, and the healthcare system says, you got to rest, take this aspirin, and then here's this walking boot, and stay off of it for 4 to 6 weeks. What's one of the first things those people do is they call their gym and they say, I got to suspend my membership, right? And it's because they weren't given proper advice around how to manage that injury. So I've talked with Wellbridge. I've talked with the general manager of New Mexico, and they like it because they're always looking at how do we add extra value while keeping a retention base that allows our financial model to be successful. So that's when I mentioned, if anyone knows a gym owner, it's how do we just bake it into the fees, and then their members get this whole additional benefit that they are, just a better overall athlete, or just person that's active. When I say athlete, I want everyone to realize it's not about winning a national championship. If you're walking a mile once a day, you're an active athlete, and we can really provide a service to you, because when people start to be active, and if your body's not ready for it, well, your hips might be unstable, but you're going to get pain in the outside of your knee, right? You don't need to go to the healthcare system. You just need to have some hip strengthening exercises. So that's the kind of resource that we can provide everyone on the call. But to the point, we can't do this for the masses right away. Like, I know that, but if you are an active individual, we can help you.
That's cool.
Yep.
Thanks. So Sonia has something before I wrap up with the last two questions.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, it might be something to look into. So I know a lot of personal trainers, and I hired a personal trainer for because I was going to be a jammer this year for roller derby, and but I find what's interesting is a lot of them are leaving places like Wellbridge because during COVID, they were not treated very well through that organization. So it may be best, I don't know, it may be best to try to connect directly with personal trainers, because I think a lot of them are going out to make their own gyms and they might have connections to other organizations.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Yeah, if you know any, I would love to talk with them as well.
Okay, I will send you their information.
Perfect.
Great. So red or green?
I talked to Adam about this yesterday. I literally don't have favorites in anything. I don't have a favorite color. I don't have a favorite city. So, right, the neutral answer is Christmas.
It's not neutral. It's powerful.
Exactly.
Anyway, so Miriam is giving me a hard laugh. So, and then how can this community help you?
I mean, I mentioned it, just introductions to the right type of people. And when I say people I want to do business with, they have to be passionate. They have to understand the space. And literally, they have to realize it's a broken system and there's a solution out there, but they don't know what it is. So just to have this conversation with them, to piggyback off each other, to brainstorm, that's how you guys can help me, is just introduce me to the right people that can have a passionate conversation.
Excellent. Thank you, Adam. So
Okay.
Sonia, Sonia's going to do the wins. Then we might have events from Eric, and then Lisa's going to wrap us up with the breakout rooms. And if you guys have any ideas for breakout rooms, put them in the chat. It'd be great.
Yep. Okay. All right. So right now, we'd love to hear from you if you have had a win. So for example, I'll give you mine. My organization, Plot Duckies, we successfully did a crowdfunding campaign for an author to pay her illustrator. And now she is fully published. I'm sharing the link there if anyone's interested. It is oh man, the link's is not correct. Hold on. It is a bilingual book, and I'm really excited that it's out there. Hopefully that should be correct. No, that's still not correct. But anyway, who else has some wins that they would like to share?
I'm going to call on Nikki because she just posted something to me privately and I think it's huge. Will you share it, Nikki?
Sure. I was just telling Lisa how Orange Bird has really kicked off and I am at my max capacity, which is awesome. And I credit it all to you guys in this wonderful 1 Million Cups community. So thank you for helping out.
All right. Anyone else have a win that they'd love to announce? Just unmute yourself and share it with it. Oh, go ahead, John.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Sonia. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's really not my win, but it's a win. So, I'm a coach and mentor at Activate NM, and we recently, through this group, actually, as you guys know, brought our most recent cohort 5, which ironically is 5 entrepreneurs, through the program and got them all, they got themselves, I should say, all to a great point of pitching their businesses, not just here in previous weeks, but then taking the next steps. So everything from, a kind of an assistant app for vineyard, for grape growers, to, someone starting an innovative business around augmented reality and marketing. Really a stellar group, and just wanted to, I'm sure most people here are familiar with the CNM Ingenuity Activate NM program. I just really wanted to highlight it and wave a flag for those 5 folks who were heroic enough to go through the program and really advance their dreams. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, John. All right. Adam's wondering cohort 5. So Adam, cohort is a group of companies. So he's talking about the new group that's in Activate NM. Cool. All right. Well, if there are no other
Janice
wins,
Janice looks like she has a win.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm so used to raising my hands in meetings.
Oh, I can see you. Sorry.
Okay, sure, I understand. So recently, I'm an ovarian cancer survivor. I was diagnosed in April of 2020. My hair is growing back, so that's a win. The other win is that I've teamed up with the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition, and they've allowed me to be an ambassador for the state of New Mexico, to start a chapter called Teal Hearts Network. And so I'm thrilled beyond all measure that I can bring a message and awareness and advocacy regarding ovarian cancer that affects 1 in 78 females of any age. So I'll be out and about in the neighborhood and looking for connections, and I'm really super excited. So thanks for letting me share.
Awesome. Congratulations. And the hair looks great. All righty. Okay, so next up we have Eric with events.
Ooh, what the heck? Let's talk about some events. I'll throw some stuff in the chat. There's a ton of links, but it's not too many different events. So I'll kind of run through those fairly quick. If you've got other events and activities that you think folks should be of interest to our community, please go ahead and share those in the chat as well. And maybe we'll invite you up for a second or two. Actually, we're almost out of time, so I'll make this quick. Let's see. So today, if you've got business in Southwest New Mexico, New Mexico Economic Development Department is doing a lot of different online activities to support different parts of the state, but also to make sure that people are aware of the different CARES Act funding and other kinds of programs to support small business and business throughout New Mexico. So they've got a business finance fair going on today. Starts a little bit from now. Organization I'm with, one of the things we're doing is we're talking with both entrepreneurs and folks who run service organizations that support entrepreneurs to assess kind of what's going on in our entrepreneurial ecosystem. We'd love to actually invite a couple folks from this group, whether you're an entrepreneur or someone who's helping out entrepreneurs in our ecosystem. We've got a couple sessions tomorrow on Thursday that we're interested in getting some folks into as well. There's a little form there if you're interested in getting more information or signing up. And I don't know, if it helps, I could even do like a side meeting room if anyone's interested in talking about assessing our local ecosystem. On Friday, I forgot to write down what the topic is. Adam, you've got Friday Flow. What's on the menu for Friday? Oh, you're muted. And still muted. Oh, well, it's in the chat. Oh. Perfect. Or maybe not. Go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah. So I'm talking about personality tests and just, curious about other people's experience with them are.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. And let's see, for Economic Development Department, again, I mentioned them earlier, but they've got a special series that's going on for business owners of color in New Mexico. And there's their next session is on Friday. I'll mention that Art Walk was delayed for a week, partially because of COVID-related restrictions. They really, if you're interested in checking out downtown in a relatively safe environment, encouraging masks, putting all the different things to buy, et cetera, on the street and making those available. That's going on this Friday afternoon, evening. Usually starts around 5:36.
So can I just say the last time I went to one of those, they were super crowded. The street was open, so you couldn't step out onto the street to get around people. And there were so few people wearing masks. I was very disappointed in the Art Walk.
Was that the one 2 months ago?
Yes.
Yeah, I know I talked with the organizer after that. That was something that there was some other folks who were doing some events related to it. So they're trying, I think they've been able to kind of maybe tamp that down. But That's one of the things that they've really been all about since this whole, mess started. So, So yeah, but thanks for sharing. And the other thing, it's already been mentioned, but we have a special event that's coming up with the 1 Minute Cups in 2 weeks. We've invited our good friend, Miriam Ortiz-Pino, to share a special end of year session that's going to talk a little bit about goal setting and what's happening with 2021. We'll have a couple of different workshops and other activities for folks to join in. So make a special point, I think, to join us on the 30th. I think we're canceled the week before. Is that correct, Sonia?
That is correct.
Yes. So don't show up on the 23rd. It'll just be very, very dusty. And that's all I've got. Thanks so much.
Awesome. I think all we have now is Lisa's going to split us into, do we have rooms today besides Adam?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a room with Innovate AT, Adam, helper, and I've already assigned you to that room, Adam, so you can help manage the conversation. And then Adam Sparks-Brechtel said, let's put together a room called Events Recognizance. Adam, would you like to explain that?
I was trying to think of something else to do, and events, like just talking about what's going on out there, maybe what people are doing to prepare for the holidays.
So if you have the right version of Zoom, you should be able to maneuver yourself around the rooms as soon as I open them. Before I do that, let's say goodbye to our friends on YouTube. We had a few